Hello everyone, Carson here, and in today's video I'm going to be taking you through 6 signs that it is time to change your WordPress web hosting. Because at every point in time, if you're not on a good hosting provider, odds are you're gonna find that it's time to change, it's time to upgrade to a new one. So because of this, I'm going to be taking you through 6 very important signs that it's probably time to switch your hosting provider. Before we do get into the 6 signs though, if you do want my recommendations for a new hosting provider, if you need to switch, I have 2 recommendations in the description, Hostinger and Bluehost. They're very good hosting providers and you can get a special discount by using my link in the description. So if you do need to change your hosting provider, check that out. And now let's get into the video. Now the first sign is if your website keeps going offline, because uptime is a very important thing for any website. If your website is not up, you can't get new potential visitors, and if you can't get new potential visitors, you can't get new customers for your product. Because of this, you need your website's uptime to be very high. Ideally, you want above a 99.9% uptime guarantee, and industry standards will even provide above a 99.99% uptime guarantee, which is very phenomenal. So if you notice that your website is going down continuously and it constantly goes down and it's not really reliable, that is a big sign that you need to switch your hosting provider. Next up, another sign that you may need to switch your hosting provider is if your WordPress hosting lacks a lot of the features which you need. If the hosting provider you're going with doesn't have the proper security features, doesn't maybe give you a free SSL and a free domain name like they probably are expected to at this point, then that could be a sign that you probably need to switch to a new hosting provider that can better service you and provide the services you need at potentially even a cheaper price. Next up, latency is really big. If your latency is low, your visitors will lose their attention spans much faster. They're not going to be able to stay on your website as long, and that just isn't a good deal. You want your latency as low as possible so your visitors don't lose interest and don't click off, because your goal is to convert your visitors into customers or your visitors into returning visitors. The point being is no matter what your goal is with your website, having a low latency is a must. And if your website provider, if your WordPress host doesn't offer low latency, it is time to switch. Next up, if your host has suspended your website, it's definitely a sign that you need a switch. Some hosts will take down a site and even suspend it if the usage limits have been exceeded for that website. So if your host does have like bandwidth restrictions, it's a good sign that you really need to get out of that host because it's not a good one. Finally, there's a potential that you've outgrown your WordPress hosting package. As your business grows, as your website grows on the internet, there is a big potential that you will outgrow your hosting plan. And if that happens and the website provider you're going with doesn't have an upgrade for you, then it's definitely time to switch. And finally, the final and actually one of my personal, qualms with a lot of website hosting providers, a lot of WordPress hosting plans, is bad customer support. If you don't have really good customer support, it just makes hosting your website, the overall experience, less easy and less enjoyable. So always look for good customer support and technical support in your WordPress hosting, and if it doesn't have that, it's time to switch. Now that is 6 reasons why you might need to switch your WordPress hosting plan. And if you are thinking about switching and you do think that you need to switch, remember I have 2 of my recommended providers linked in the description where you can check them out and receive special discounts if you need a new hosting plan. Thanks for watching, till next time, and have a great day.